temperature
My
for like
dad.
5 days.
My dad got extremely ill too.
Fumes.
Yeah. It is a true thing.
Did you clean dirt out of your nose for like a week?
Yes.
Probably. I used to clean dirt out of my hair for at least a solid week.
Waiting on the last couple to come strolling back in. So I have to say, as you were about to surprise the whole season last year. I think we all had questions. How well would you do, and not just you, but rookies in general? You and Colton both, and Felix for that matter, turned out to be a tremendous rookie class. So how would you judge how it ended for you? You nearly completed every lap, didn't win a race, but rookie of the year at Indianapolis, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, no, it was a solid first year. You know, we learned so much, especially in the ovals. You know, I just felt right at home there, and you know, with the road and street courses, working with Sebastian, working with the team. You know, I feel like a lot more confident going into a lot of the races this year, knowing what I'm getting into, knowing the tracks, understanding how the team works throughout the weekend. And you know, every race has been drastically different, and it's been an awesome learning curve. And you know, we're ready to take it on again this year. Kind of, you know, same mentality. Just go through it, have fun, enjoy it, and see how we do.
I think you earned a lot of fans based on a couple of those moves. The Indianapolis one in particular, when you went around the outside and into the grass and then onto the access road. I would take it your social media went up quite a bit after that.
Yeah, you know, it was really good at the moment. I'm going to try not to do that again this coming year. I would prefer not to test the lawn setup.
Okay. You've taken on a new responsibility with this team. Instead of having a champion teammate the way Sebastian has been, now you're going to essentially train someone new. You're going to be in a different role. How do you expect that to be?
No, obviously it's very different. You know, I go from someone that's got 20 years of, you know, basically my entire life's worth of experience, and going to actually a kid that I know very well from Europe and I've worked with before and I get along with as well. So, you know, I think it'll be a good fit. I think we'll both be really competitive this year, and I think we'll be able to really push the team to its limits and see what we can get out of the cars and whatnot. But it is kind of weird being the veteran driver at 21.
Questions from Paul Kelly?
Nothing in your background would have suggested the adaptation you had to ovals last year. One, why do you think you adapted so well to ovals, and did that surprise you?
You know, I think it's the racing in general. It just makes sense to me. There's something about it that just kind of clicked immediately. The way I think the team brought me through, Sebastian brought me through, and everyone kind of brought me into it. The way that I mentally approached it, and I had everyone in my corner talking me through it. And you know, it surprised me a lot. But it's just one of those things that when it's just natural, it just happens, and you don't have to think about it. You know, also I don't have too many fears, and you know, some people are really afraid of the wall and have had massive shunts, and you know, it's not something that I've had or I'm willing to have. But I think part of that goes into being young and dumb, for the most part. But no, I think it works in my favor a little bit there, and having decent car control, and so I'm looking forward to that again this year.
They call those soft walls, remember? Les.
Santino, like Alexander Rossi, you came out some background around Formula One. One of the things he said was the hypercriticality of Formula One was very different than he experiences in IndyCar. But when he gets in IndyCar, it's much more friendly and cohesive, yet the technical aspect came through. Did you experience anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very different mental attitude approach. You know, it's weekend to weekend. You know, we're out there, we're having fun, we enjoy what we do, and it's been a blast. You know, ever since coming back to the States and being with Dale and being around the paddock, being with other drivers, you know, everyone's super friendly. There's no one that's ever standoffish, and you know, it's a huge boost mentally compared to over there, where you're really a one-man team, and your biggest competitor is your teammate, and you come here and he's your biggest ally. So it's really comforting as a driver. It really makes you push your limits in a different way, and you know, you can really exploit the best out of your team, the best out of your equipment, and the best out of others.
David Malsham.
Congratulations on retaining the ride or moving across to the Sailmaster car. Obviously, I'm sure you learned a lot from Sebastian, even though you had quite different driving styles. Does it help the fact that you're going to get in the fresh a load of input from a different teammate, or would you like to have had the continuity of working with Seb?
I would have much enjoyed the continuity of having Seb for another year. You know, I think we got along very, very well. I think even though we drove very opposite, having his knowledge in the team was a huge boost, especially for me, and you know, bringing me up to speed. But you know, with Alex, you know, I'm really excited to work with him because we drive very similar, and we can put the team to focus in one direction. So it'd be less stressful on the guys, less stressful on the engineers, and you know, we can really, you know, focus on the direction we want to go with the setup of the car, and we don't have to be fighting and butting heads in the engineering as much about what we're doing and what they're doing. So I think as far as looking at it, it's obviously every side's got its minuses and pluses, and you know, it's yes, it'd be nice to have him again, but on the other hand, it's also nice to have someone that drives very similar as the other.
I wanted to ask you, where was your best race last year? Not results based. Where was your best race last year?
Oh, Gateway, 100%. I felt super confident, super comfortable, just super I was in a rhythm, a moment, and I don't know, it's just an amazing day altogether.
Steve?
You did the Chili Bowl a few weeks ago, a month ago. Would you do another midget race? And is there anything you can learn from that experience that you can take back to IndyCar?
I definitely want to do another midget race. I'm trying to work on something to do more. I think Dale is actually very positive in pushing that direction because, you know, it's a great background. You know, it's where IndyCar and IndyCar drivers got their start. You know, that is their background. You know, a lot of those drivers back in the day came up through dirt racing, and to get the opportunity to run there and to learn with those guys it's not the same sport. I mean, right. Racing's racing, but those guys, I have a huge respect for everybody that does that because, you know, I was in, like, I think the 5 mains from the bottom of the day on Saturday. I think I ran at noon, and there's probably about another 250 people ahead of me. And it's an incredibly humbling experience, as my teammate for the 500 would say. And no, I think what you learn is car control. So you're adapting on a track like that. It's different for every 5 laps you're on it. And the way that you adapt is very similar to the way you would adapt over a 500-mile race, just in literally lap by lap versus a stint. So everything's much faster paced, the track's ever changing, you're always looking for different lines, and your car control is what's super important because you are so far ahead of the car every corner, every lap, every adjustment, that when you get back into the IndyCar, I'm going to imagine everything's going to happen a lot slower on the ovals, and that's what I'm kind of hoping for.
Could serve you well in the wet tomorrow as well.
Probably. I'd hope so. Stay sharp somehow.
You got a brief taste of the aero screen at Sebring during the test in November. What are your expectations, and what are your objectives for tomorrow and Wednesday?
To be honest, I really love it. You know, in the car, I can sit in the driving position I actually like to. You know, I'm incredibly short, which is not a bad thing, but I can actually get up now in the car and be on top of the steering wheel and be on top of the pedals and actually kind of feel really in control versus, you know, before you're sitting really low, you're sitting underneath everything for safety. And I think that'll be a huge plus for me. And, you know, the visibility out of it's actually really nice. You know, it's kind of cool being inside of it and being surrounded by it. You know, I really enjoy the difference, you know, and, you know, having driven with the Halo, the shark fin, and you know, nothing. It's nice and comforting as a driver to have.
Nathan?
You touched on this a little bit already, but the youth movement of this series, a couple of you guys really impressing last year, you having a young teammate in Alex this year. Do you kind of see you guys on the brink of maybe the next wave of drivers, and how do you maybe see this series kind of evolving in that way a little bit?
I think in this series you have kind of 3 categories of driver now. You have the veterans that have been there since probably I've been born. Then you have you know, a bunch of the European drivers that have come over from European racing cars, and then you have a bunch of drivers that are coming up to the IndyCar ranks. And you know, the diversity in the grid is massive. I mean, you have different attitudes, different personalities, different driving styles, and you know, it just makes the racing incredible. And you know, for a younger perspective, you know, you have a lot of guys that are just, you know, have been in the series that are just iconic, and it's really hard to lose those guys. because what happens is everyone has been following them, and they're such household names that, you know, without them in the sport, you know, for us being young, we have to do something a little extra and above with the fans being at the track to, you know, try and be friendly, because, you know, you have someone like Tony Kanaan, you walk around, everybody knows who Tony Kanaan is. I mean, it's amazing. You know, and same with Scott Dixon and Will Power. I mean, those are names that have been in the sport for so long. It's like Earnhardt, I mean, NASCAR, everybody knows. So the sport's really connected to those names, but with the young drivers coming through, I think we put a different spin on how we drive. We're a little bit more aggressive. Probably getting to be as smart. We're still all learning, clearly. But no, I think it would be a good movement in the next couple of years.
Bruce?
How much patience did you have to endure while all this was going on? Because I talked to you at the Brickyard in September, and you were like, we're close to making an announcement, and it was still months before it happened.
Oh, I mean, it's weird how all that works and comes together. You know, it's all little deals throughout and little nuisances in and out around, and you know, I think there's a lot of things going on with our team that we wanted to sort out, and obviously with a couple of different teams coming in and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I think there's a few people that knew what was really going on, and that's kind of what mattered to us.
I was pulling photographs of you about a week ago,
Oh, no.
and there must have been about 4 different hairstyle changes last year.
Just 4? I'm disappointed.
Is this a point of emphasis? And
I like to change it up, man. I mean, I feel like, I wake up every day and I go, oh, this is a different style. It just depends on which side of the bed I sleep on, what pillow it is, which Holiday Inn I'm staying at. I mean, I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, I gotta actually shower and put some product in here today. Then they make me take the helmet on and off, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, it's growing in 2 inches. So if you saw me earlier, I was actually running towards the bathroom to find a water sink, which is really bad, because, you know, I could rock a full afro, but I'd probably scare a few people.
That's what Lewis did yesterday, actually.
Really?
Full kind of like shaggy mane.
I'll pull that out at some point during the year. I won't cut my hair. I'll pull out a full afro.
you're serious about that?
Yeah, definitely. Tell me which race. We need a throwback race. I think if we do a throwback race with the liveries, I'll do full afro.
Full afro.
Full afro.
All right, Bruce?
At this stage of your career, you're already the veteran of the team. Did you think it would happen this quickly?
Definitely not. Still very mature to be a veteran on the team, especially Dale's team. I mean, those guys are like family, so they treat me well. Sebastian has taught me so much over the year. It's just, you know, it's working with everybody, keeping everybody in good spirits, and, you know, I kind of feel like, you know, Sebastian was a natural leader for the team, and, you know, he did a really good job mentoring me and putting me in a position that, you know, I was expecting to have another year with him, but since he's unfortunately not with us, that I can kind of try and fill his shoes a little bit and try and bring that direction to the team and try and keep everybody in that together, happiness and momentum moving forward.
You still got Kevin Diamond, so you're...
Oh no, yeah, no. Someone said I had to work with Kevin, I was just like, really? Like, that guy? No, it's been going good. I've been called multiple times and yelled at already, so it's good. It's going great.
Go see the rest of your friends across the building. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you guys.